Welcome to Module 4, Component 1 of the Spotlight Sessions. This is Lisa Robbin Young, and I want you to take a look at this diagram for a hot second, particularly the lower left-hand corner, the who you do it for corner, because that's what this module is all about. But I want you to see how intimately connected who you do it for is connected to who you really are and what it is that you really do. Because you have to have an offer for people, obviously, but those people have to resonate with that offer. And part of what causes them to resonate is what it is that you're offering, but also who you are, what you stand for, why you do what you do in the marketplace. This is important, and you'll see why it's so important as we continue into this section on who your perfect fit customers are. And particularly as we look at this model here, the problem or the deep desire that they're facing. Remember, this is what your transformation is resolving, okay? This is how we see the world through the eyes of your customer. They've got a problem. They need it handled in a specific way. They're going to look at your offering to see if it measures up, and if it does, then you get to continue a business relationship with them and continue around this circle ad infinitum. So right now, let's look at the problem or the deep desire. And there's a couple of different ways we can look at this. Problems come essentially in three different shapes. There's actual physical pain, like, oh, my back hurts, ow, I need to get this problem solved. There is what I call the psychophysio pain. This is a pain point that is both physical and emotional in nature. So a great example is weight loss, because not many people actually feel physical pain from their weight. If they do, they usually lose the weight so that they don't feel the pain anymore. But they also have, and more likely have, that they carry with them an emotional pain, a psychological pain around carrying excess weight and not being able to go to the places they want to go, shop in the places they want to shop, be with the people they want to be with, etc. So this is a hybrid. It blends the physical and the psychological. And I find that people are much more willing to seek solutions with these blended pain point issues. Then the third type of pain is the emotional pain. And like this picture suggests, this woman is probably not physically hurting from the children that she has all over the room. However, she's probably dealing with a lot of stress, a lot of frustration, a lot of anxiety, maybe some time management issues. All of those are emotional. None of them are physical in nature. And people are more apt to hang on to and deal with and cope and live with these issues than they are with physical pains or even physio-emotional pains. Those psychophysical pains are the thing, they are the hot button. When you hear a marketing guru talk about find their pain point, that's what they're talking about. They want you to twist the thumb screws on feeling the pain, feeling the psychological, emotional, and physical pain. And that's why weight loss and money-making products are some of the biggest selling products on the planet, because people want to deal with the physical and emotional pain of being heavyset, or dealing with the physical emotional pain of not having the money to do, be, or have whatever it is they think they need to do, be, or have in the world. So that's why those things are so popular and why people spend so much money on them. But there's a whole other side to this coin, because people tend to move away from pain and towards pleasure. But people generally have a threshold for pain. They'll tolerate it up to a certain point. If it's not too painful, they'll live with it. The other side of this coin is where their deep desire is, because they're moving toward pleasure and they are ready and willing to continue feeling good. And you have to be clear on the types of deep desires. That's why it's called a deep desire. Not just, yeah, it would be nice, that's kind of cool. But we're talking about people who have not just collections, but obsessions. They're obsessed with, for me, it's old books. I love antique books. I almost don't even care what the topic is. If it's a dusty old book, I'm cracking it open to see what it's about, and I'm probably going to buy it, because I'm obsessed with old books, especially old books about business or success. Love that stuff. I can't get enough of it. I have an obsession with that. And when you are working with people who have an obsession or are a very strong collector of something. People like the Comic-Con convention attendees who dress up in their Star Wars garb for the whole 3-day event. Those kinds of people are obsessed, and those kinds of people are willing to invest money in deepening their desire and feeding their obsession. Another kind of deep desire comes in the form of hobbies or passions. If you golf once in a while, it's a nice little hobby for you. But if you're passionate about improving your swing and having the best tools and always getting the best score, then you've got a passion. Or if you're a gardener and you have a passion for organic gardening and you want all of your tomatoes to turn out perfect, then you've got a passion. And that's something that's going to take up some time for you. Now, the difference between passions and obsessions is passions are generally seasonal. Passions are something that we do for a period of time during the year, and then they may lay dormant, or we may read about them in order to stay connected to them. Passions and hobbies aren't something that we do all the time, whereas an obsession is something that we're like, any opportunity we've got, we are on it. Okay? So these are the different levels of deep desire, so to speak. And then the third level is fascination. You may be fascinated, I was for a time, with all things girly. I was not raised in a very girly household. I'm sure you could probably guess that. My mom didn't wear makeup. She didn't wear dresses. That was just not her thing. And so for me, there was a time when I was very fascinated with shoes and dresses and makeup and hairstyles and all that stuff. And I always felt so inadequate. But that's another story. But I was fascinated by it. And so fascinations are those short-term, fad-like things that we really get wrapped up in. Another fascination that I've had recently is in the field of brain science. Now, I have no desire to become a brain scientist or, a brain surgeon or anything to do with being a doctor, but I have this great fascination with how the brain works and how people choose to do or not do what they do in life. And that all comes out of brain science. And so there was a time when I was inordinately fascinated with it, and I would read everything I could find. I would watch every DVD I could get my hands on, like anything I could learn about how the brain works. I was all about it. That fascination has passed, and while I still have an interest in it, I'm not looking for every book on the market. I'm not listening to every speaker on the planet. I am not plunking down money for every seminar I could possibly attend. That fascination has lost its luster for me. Now, I'm still interested in it, but it's the fascination or the passion or the obsession where we really put our money into something, where it really becomes a marketable venture for a business owner to capitalize on. Okay? And as a business owner, you need to distinguish who is it that you're serving. Are you serving the people who are fascinated, which means you're going to churn through clients more frequently? Are you serving the passionate, which means they're going to come to you periodically throughout the year? Or are you serving the obsessed, the people who just can't get enough and got to have it all the time? You've got to be clear on who your market is and who it is that you serve. Another great fascination, feng shui or interior design. Maybe you have a client who is all about inspiring. Life's got to be inspiring, and so she's got to have the most inspirational whatever all over her house, and she wants it to be just so. Well, maybe you sell inspirational jewelry, or maybe you sell those word things that hang on walls and stuff like that. If you sell word art, that's something that can help her express that need for inspiration. But you have to distinguish. Is she just fascinated with this? Is she passionate about it? Or is she obsessed with it? If she's obsessed with it, every time you've got something new, you can let her know and she'll probably snap it up. If she's passionate about it, some things will catch her fancy and some things won't. And if she's fascinated about it, you need to hit the market quickly and stay on her with all the new stuff that you have right now, because eventually her fascination is going to wane. And once her fascination wanes, she will not be doing business with you anymore, or very rarely, because that's just the cycle of how those levels of interest flow. So, who are your perfect fit customers? Now, in the example that I just used, we did a little bit of role playing, and I want you to dig into the character study approach. You did this in Module 3 where you looked at, getting into the head of your customer for that whole transformation. But now I want you to use that method acting approach to explore the transformation through the eyes of your client's problem or deep desire. So you have a transformation that you offer. let's get into the shoes of the skin of this client. So let's use the example that I just had, okay? Sally is a single mom and she's got 3 kids, ages range from 6 to 15. And she really tries hard to be a good mom, and she wants to be the person who is her kid's biggest cheerleader and not friend, but encourager, and believes in them and wants them to know that they can do it no matter what. And she wants to believe that for herself, too. So she's coming to a situation where she wants to have this inspirational stuff around her house, okay? And so this might be something Sally would say. I work really hard to make sure that my kids know that they can do anything in life if they set their minds to it and if they work hard enough to achieve it. And everything in my home reflects that core value. That's what I believe, and I want them to know that there are no limits. Just because it's only me right now, just because their dad died, doesn't mean that they're not loved. It doesn't mean that they're not good enough. By gosh, they are. And that's why my whole house reflects that I believe in them and that they need to believe in themselves and each other. You can hear me getting into the skin of Sally. And that's what you need to do as you're crafting who your perfect fit customer is. And you have a whole list of questions in the perfect fit customer questionnaire, sample questions worksheet in the toolbox area that you can use to go through to help you get clear on who is the person that's right for you. Right now, we're just digging into what's the deep desire. What's the transformation through their eyes? And we want to use their words, not yours. So here's a great way to kind of prime the pump on that. What is your customer's dream fantasy or scenario? If you could wave a magic wand, what would their perfect scenario look like? So taking Sally as an example, if I could just fill my home with inspiring messages and quotes that would just uplift them and that they could take with them and that they just knew was for them, it would if I could brainwash them to be successful, that would be fabulous. That would be ideal. Because then even when I'm not around, they're still getting fed that message of you can do it. So that would be her magic wand scenario, maybe, all right? That's her problem. That's her pain point. That's her deep desire. Now, you have a transformation that meets that. You have this beautiful wall art, or you have this wearable jewelry that's all inspirational, and they can wear it with them and take it with them wherever they go. Or you can take the wall art and apply it to their lunchbox, or whatever. You have different ways of delivering it to her. And we'll talk about delivery in a minute in the next module component. But what I want you to see here is when you start to understand what she's really feeling when she's in her pain or in her deep desire, then you can use those words to create what we call resonance. Your perfect fit customer is found at the nexus of who you are and what you offer, that transformation and what you're all about in the world. The right clients are going to resonate with who you are and be ready to buy what you are offering. And that happens when you get inside their skin and you understand clearly who it is that you're trying to reach. Now, if you are fortunate enough to have a perfect fit client in your business already, then absolutely model this after them. Sit down with them, talk to them, listen to them talk about what their deep desire is or what their deep problem is that you can help solve. Always look at it from what is it that their need is that's going to get them to go, oh, I want that. And then look in your bag of tricks, your arsenal of products and services, and see what it is that you offer that can meet that need from their perspective. What transformation can you provide that meets their need? But if you don't have a client already, then you'll want to dig into those perfect fit customer questions and start picking your own brain from the perspective of your perfect fit customer. So you're going to do a little acting. You're going to pretend to be whoever your ideal customer is, that person you would absolutely love to work with. What's going on in their mind? What are they thinking about? What are they feeling? What is their everyday like? You may even find that you are your perfect fit customer, which makes it a lot easier. But that's not always the case. So be mindful of that as you're crafting this perfect fit customer profile. And we'll talk more about resonance in the next module.